REA just had an auction. A dream card for me is that 54 Heron SGC 9 that sold last night. A PSA 9 example of this card most recently sold for around 360 to 400,000 in that range. Tyler, do you want to guess what the SGC 9 sold at yesterday? $169,000. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Gordy Bonker Show. I am your host, Gordy Bonker, and I want to thank last week's guest, Matt Worley from Slabnomics, for joining the show. I really appreciated our conversation. Matt and I went into a deep dive, really talking about some of the things we think about when evaluating sports cards, the do's and don'ts of certain card deals, some of the things that Matt has learned in his year going all in on the hobby and building out Slabnomics as his own personal content brand. Found the conversation to be super interesting. He's also really into soccer cards, so that has been a really interesting dynamic, seeing that market evolve as well. So if you haven't checked out that episode, definitely check it out, last week's episode with Matt Worley. This week on the show, I have one of my favorite hobby content creators on as the guest, Mr. Tyler Tarver from Tarver's Cards. I'll talk a little bit more about Tyler in just a minute, but I have a couple of other announcements and updates I want to get to you guys before we jump into the interview. It's been a busy week for me. I shared on my social media last week. Had a difficult week with a couple of deals backing out. One of the things that I do experience in this hobby, unfortunately, not everyone's going to be a great actor, and not everyone's word is their bond. I have been able to build a great brand and reputation because my word is my bond, and I know that your reputation is everything in this business. So I never operate under anything other than that. However, you will walk into people in this industry, unfortunately, that don't have the same morals and ethical standards that you carry yourself. So I had two deals fall through, one of which was a really large size deal. It was close to $250,000 deal. There was another one of a card that I have in my hand here. I have a 62 Mickey Mantle PSA 8. I was asking $18,500. Came to terms with a buyer, had an agreed upon price, and then when it came to deal for payment, the buyer did not follow through on his end. And I have had that experience before, but having both of those deals kind of happen to each other both in the same week, I was just frustrated. Took to social media, kind of shared just what was happening and my thoughts and my approach to it, which is, at the end of the day, not everything is going to go your way. I'm a big golfer. I talk about golf all the time, and I think golf has some incredible parallels to life and in business. And sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. You don't get the right roll, and you have to be able to keep moving forward and pick up, take your next shot, and keep swinging. Because at the end of the day, you can only do your best, and you can only hold yourself to the standards that you believe you want to, and that's the way that I'll continue to operate. And there's going to be more deals to come. And that kind of intros me into this next point, that shortly after I shared those videos and that story, I had a member of the Bonkers Cards Club reach out to me that he had a large collection for sale. He is looking to purchase a home down in Florida, and he sent me pictures of his collection, and it was a really, really large value collection of mostly Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, all the big names, but really Babe Ruth was his focal point of the collection. And he asked for me to look into it, make him an offer, and within 48 hours, I was able to actually close on a deal with him. So we have an agreed upon price, and I am flying down to Florida this week to pick it up and fly it home. So I'm really excited about it. It's one of the larger collections I have ever purchased. I don't want to give the exact dollar figure yet. I want to have the deal close and have the cards in hand, obviously, just because it's been a rocky week of dealing with people. But I feel good with this. This is somebody I've done business with before. I've bought in smaller collections of size from this person before as well. So I'm excited about it. It's the Babe Ruth collection. It's the Florida collection. One of the bigger deals that I've done. It's got every Babe Ruth Gowdy card in it. It's got rare Babe Ruth variations and strip cards, exhibit cards. It has some really iconic Hall of Fame rookie cards as well, early playing career cards of all the big names that I know people will be really excited to see. So I'll have some content that I'll be sharing on that hopefully in the next week. Keep your fingers crossed for me. I'll be talking about it for sure on next week's podcast. So the Florida deal up and coming for sure. So that is that. And then I'm going to be going to the Philly show. So I'm going to be flying back from Florida and then immediately going to the Philly show, which will be really exciting. It's my last big show of the year. So I might be bringing some of those Babe Ruth cards out to the show, maybe doing a little content buying and selling there. I've got a couple meetings that I'm really excited about with some people and some companies in the hobby that will be taking place at the Philly show. So I'm looking forward to doing that and seeing them. These big card shows are excellent, not only for the cards, but, especially for me, this being my business, it's a great opportunity to network. So anybody that is interested in the card business and the hobby and the industry, getting out to card shows, the relationships that you build and the networking at those shows is super, super valuable. So I am excited to do that. I'll have some good card show content for you guys as well. And it'll be a great time. So looking forward to the Philly show and everybody there. And I'm super excited for our guest today is Tyler Tarver of Tarver's Cards. And I've known Tyler for some time now. I'll try to find the picture of the first time we met at my first Chicago National. I want to say it was probably 3 years ago. One of the things that stuck out to me about Tyler in that first time we met was just how genuinely kind he was and how willing immediately he was to help me. He had no reason to want to help me, but he saw that I was trying to make content like he was, and he wanted to introduce me to people at different companies that thought that maybe they would be interested in me or my content. And Tyler is exactly as you see him in his content. He's got a ton of energy. He's a great guy. And I kept in touch with him after that first national. And then the next time I really got to hang out with him was at the first time I went to the Culture Collision show, which I think was 2 years ago now. And it was an interview I got to do with him. And that's on the Bonkers Cards podcast. You can still listen to that first interview I did with Tyler. But I interviewed him about his career as an entrepreneur. And at the time of that interview, I had just quit my job. I was probably 2 weeks removed from putting in my 2-week notice at my job. And I still will look at some of the clips back from that conversation and think about what I was thinking about at that time, trying to delete some of the thoughts that I had about myself and some of the anxiety and things that I was dealing with at the time. And I remember really resonating with Tyler's story as somebody who has tried a lot of different things in his life. He's been an entrepreneur. He's been super passionate about a number of different topics. I mean, he's an incredibly smart guy. He has a huge following in the education space, which is a really cool element to Tyler as well. I'm sure we'll talk about today, but a really good reminder of how far I've come. And it's a good reminder as well of some of the good people that are in this hobby. So if you haven't yet checked out his content, definitely be sure to follow him. We'll link all of his socials in the description here. But without further ado, I will now send you guys over to the interview with Mr. Tyler Tarver of Tarver's Cards. What is going on, everybody? Tyler Tarver, Dr. Tyler Tarver is in the house for our interview this weekend. Tyler, what's going on, my man?
Dude, Gordy, just happy to be here. Happy to be alive. For now, we'll see how it goes, but I'm excited. Yeah, and thanks for saying doctor, man. That thing was so expensive, and it was a lot of work, so I appreciate that, bro.
You deserve it, man. I was just talking about that actually in your intro before we recorded about you have such a huge passion for education. And I think it's amazing first of all, how successful that content has been for you and just everything related to that background. And there's a lot of people in the hobby that might not even recognize like how integral you are in that space. What has that been like for you? How has the education content been going for you? I know that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean that's the main stuff. Like sports cards, really. If I do anything there, social media wise, or do collabs, like it just pays for more cards. Like I
Yeah.
literally went and got my checks from my flea market booth, and it put me out of the negative. That's what's up. I'm back at zero, baby. It won't take long. Next Jordan Poole gold that pops up, I'm going back under. But no, it's fun. I like the education stuff, and with social media there, I've done collabs there, but it's so different because, yeah, you might do collabs and in the sports car space, but it's not a lot of like, hey, come to this event or come here. They do
Yeah.
card shows, and sometimes they'll be like, hey, come here and do something, but it's not like that's how you make money to feed your family.
Right.
Whereas the social media on the education stuff, that funnels to my email list, and it's like you're giving them free tips, free resources to the email list, which is free stuff, and then you're just hoping they remember you whenever it comes to summer and they need trainings. And so that's how I make most of my revenue for the year. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I was going down memory lane thinking about when I had first met you, and then our following conversation at Culture Collision. And, I was talking a lot about, first of all, when we had first met, just how kind you were to me and how much that has stuck with me as I've continued to grow and build in the hobby. And you're a great example of how you should treat people. So I want to thank you for that and
thanks,
having such
man.
an awesome platform. And, one of the things I thought about when I got to interview you at Culture Collision, I was like 2 weeks removed from quitting my job full time. And I was interviewing you, talking and asking you about your career and all the different things that you had done. And, it's a short time, but it's a long time. It's hard to really wrap your head around time and all the different ventures that you can put in life. But I thought it was amazing that you kept trying different things from an entrepreneurial standpoint, all the different content you had created, YouTube channels that you had done. Obviously, you had this really successful venture within the education space. And I just remember thinking about how you can continually evolve in life and you can keep changing. And it gave me a lot of confidence leaving there that it was okay that I had changed jobs a few times and I was really interested in sports cards and I wanted to build this channel. And, I thought that was a really cool moment. So do you remember that conversation and kind of going down memory lane for yourself?
Oh yeah, and that's the thing, man. You don't, because you always look forward and you keep moving forward. Like I try not to dwell on like, oh, I tried that and it didn't work, or I
Yeah.
guess I can stop paying for that .com because that don't exist anymore, And it's like you've
Yeah.
got this graveyard of failed online ventures, and then it's just like, no, I learned from it and I started something new. And I mean, honestly, even like this, like when you're kind of like an entrepreneur, you're building something for yourself,
Yeah.
like, and it's not like, oh, I'm doing well because I can make money or make a living out of this. Like I'll post something on my education account and be like, oh my gosh, everybody hates me. You know what I mean? Like it's you can still fall into that. It's a roller coaster, and it's just like,
Yeah.
man, some people they're just great at it and they can just hit every time they post. Vis-a-vis Kyle, King of Cards, he just hits every time he posts something. It feels like,
Yeah.
or maybe that's just my algorithm tossing him in front of me when it does well. But like, that's the thing. You just try stuff, and people are people. Like they change. I don't want to be this two-dimensional, space. I want to keep like evolving, and I have different interests. I like different things. Like I got back into cards 5 years ago, and I'm glad that now that's an avenue that I can enjoy and share with my kids and make social media content and build a community with. Like
Yeah.
I'm just I you can call it the ADD in me, but I don't like to just sit and do the same thing all the time. Like I like to mix it up, change it up, and try to see how many people I can connect with. So that's just me
Yeah.
though.
That's awesome. No, I mean, I think it's amazing, and it's like I don't know, uh, been you've been building your platform in real time, and people have been able to see who you authentically are. I was talking about you being on the podcast this week on my live show on Sunday to my community, and the Bonkers Cards live show on TikTok Sunday nights is like
Hmm.
where a lot of people join, buy cards from me, and also chat. And I had said Tyler Tarver's coming on my show, and the audience, like obviously all knows you because of your card content. And the one guy goes, ask him about how his son's doing in football. And I loved your videos you did with him out on the gridiron. Guy, I mean, he's an up and coming 5-star recruit, man. It's
He
cool.
is,
I love seeing that stuff. But I had
yeah,
to
he's
ask
actually been
on
doing
behalf.
great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. No, I had to ask you, like, how has that been getting to coach him and share that content?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I got to coach him in flag football with the school, first and second grade, and then third grade they start tackle. And we were a little nervous, but he's on, he's a bigger kid, but he's also pretty fast. I think he's like the second, maybe third fastest on the team. But he's, that's good because a lot of kids are timid at that age. So, he was in the rotation of people who could run the ball, and he wasn't like we have one kid that I think he scored like 40 touchdowns this year. He was our number one. Like literally every other play, we're like, give it to David. Give it to David. Like he just fearless. He's like if you see him in any of Finn's videos, he's standing next to Finn and he'll run and do like blocks, when Finn's running it. And everybody's like in the comments, like 32 is too small. I go, 32 is our best player. Like 32 is incredible. Like he is fearless, spins. He looks like a PS5 controller that is just expert
Huh.
level. He's
So you
on
got a little
Osmo, but
Sonic
he's
the
great. But then
Hedgehog going
Finn's
on.
in the
You got
rotation. The what?
Both of them are just studs then. Like your team's just got the double dynamic running back scenario.
They're good. They're good. And it's funny. The videos, I had two videos. We played this one team and they took off. One Finn had to run up the sideline, but you can hear me because I'm standing back there. It's Pee Wee, so I'm like on the field, showing
Yeah.
them the play in the notebook, and they're like, "Everybody do this." We only run 2 plays, so I'm like, "We just can't remember that as third graders." But as you can hear me like cheering them on, like "Go, go, go!" And you can hear my voice change because they had one kid, like people are like, "Oh, he's too big to be out there." Finn is like 4 inches shorter than their best kid, who was just roasting us all day. And you can see, like, Finn comes around the corner, and this little bitty guy at corner, because they usually put their small guys at corner, he's trying to get around him, and then their big guy that was just like destroying us. He tripped, like Finn ran him into it. He trips over the little guy, and you could hear me like, let's go. Cause like I leveled up because like that's the only guy that can take you down, Finn, and he just hit the ground.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know, it's so exciting. And I always joked around and said the most stressful thing in my life was third grade Pee Wee football because I like cared. Those kids were such good kids and I wanted them to do so well. And it's like, it was so much fun. They did great and I was really proud of them this year.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of dads that are listening that can relate to you on that. And you're filming those with those meta glasses,
Yeah.
correct?
Meta
I
glass.
want to keep putting off buying those. I want to get those for a card show because I think it'd be good content.
They're great. I love them. We use them because we have tickets to the Grizzlies games, and so we try to get the early. One of the things we like doing is getting stuff signed. And I tried it on my phone for a while, but then you got like a phone in a dude's face, and and you know this, like when you're filming and you start having a real conversation, you forget you have the phone. You like float off.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
for those games or for those or for those autographs, I just my head's gonna point towards where the action is, so it's
That's
always
great.
getting the content. And even if I forget about it, like it's gonna keep recording for at least a minute, minute and a half.
You gotta. I'm gonna text you after this, asking you for the link of the ones that you have because I saw there was a
Yeah.
couple different ones, and I gotta get them because I think it'll be helpful. I
Yeah,
guess I'm
absolutely.
curious to stay on the talking point of you being a dad, and I think being a part of the hobby and getting to enjoy it with your kids. What has that experience been like? And I love hearing about the father and son combo in the hobby.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best. Like, I like it and I'm into it. I'm more into it than all my family combined. But like, my youngest son, he's 9, and he's like the only one that really kind of collects cards and likes it.
Mm.
The other two, my older two, they just like road trips. And so anytime they can go on a road trip with me to a show or do something, they're like, "Yep, we're in," because they know they get to pick wherever we eat dinner. And I'm probably going to pay them, especially if we set up. That's been one of the cool things is whenever we set up at shows, like we set up at Dallas a couple of years ago. So my oldest two were probably 9 and 11,
Yeah.
and I had them running the tables, and it's really cool because they're getting the chance to get those social skills, getting that practice, like bartering with people. And I tell them, like, if I leave the table, I'm like, hey, nothing under 80%. Like they'll go down to 80% of whatever I have priced at. Anything crazy, call me, and they
Yeah.
just handle it, and it puts them in the situation where they're having to have those conversations. And this, it's kind of uncomfortable, talking money and
Yeah.
prices and bartering. And, we card collectors, we like to say, well, here's a low ball offer and throw 35% out there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whatever. But it's cool because they get the chance to like put into action the stuff they're learning in school. And whenever they go with me to a card show, I'll straight leave them, go make content. And I'll stay away for like hours and let them just run the table.
Yeah.
So hopefully
I
nothing's been stolen. So
I think that's awesome. I couldn't agree more. And I hope that, and I have kids someday that they are interested in the hobby to some level because I do think it is such a good teacher of some of the foundational points of business and entrepreneurship. Like having uncomfortable conversations, negotiation, relationship building, communication, like all of these things are just so helpful in life, regardless of what you do. And I do think that it sharpened those skills for me a ton. I was fortunate that when I got into this space as a business, I was already pretty good at a couple of those things because of the career that I was in. I was in sales and then I was an agency recruiter in New York. And I was doing a lot of those things, having uncomfortable conversations around salary, negotiating salary, like the fear of rejection as well, especially on like the buying side of cards where you're on for what I do now. I need to hear no a lot in terms of if I'm buying cards, if I, am trying to make a deal happen. It's not like everyone just yeses you to death and it's easy. Like most of the
yeah,
time you fail in this. And your ability to be resilient from that and continue to push forward and be communicative and still have, a good nature about yourself. Like it's just, I can't think of a better place for kids to grow up and learn some of those skills. And you see it. I love where we are today in the hobby, like it is very young. There are a lot of kids in this. There's a lot of people interested in it. And, I'm just super optimistic about where the hobby is for how many kids are involved with it now. And I don't know what you think about that, but I think it's a great thing.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, you've been to enough shows, like there's kids around there, but then there's also like, people our age. I know you're a lot younger than me, but people in that like the middle zone, and then you got
Yeah.
guys that have been in the hobby for 50 years. And it's just a really cool dynamic seeing everybody interact and then how certain generations interact with certain people. And so it's just like it's fun to me. And I think the more young people they can get in there and get some reps, no matter what profession they go into, they're going to learn some super valuable skills, and finding
Yeah.
card value, how we comp things, the fact that you can have a different value for something than someone else. And it doesn't mean they have to buy it. And it doesn't mean you have to sell it,
Yeah.
like understanding that side of business, supply and demand, pop
Yeah.
counts, like all this stuff is such great, like, I don't know, like little reps, little micro learning things that you can take and learn from. So I think it's great. The more young people in the hobby, and again, you want them to be safe with their money, because I know a lot of you've had parents with kids come up to your table and
Yeah.
the parents are like, I don't know anything, and you're just kind of like, like it was Culture Collision a few years ago, the year or two before we met up there, and I was posted up, and dad and the kid came up, and the kid was like, I've seen your video. I was like, what's up, man? And talking to him, and dad was kind of just like, I'm just here with him. This is our first show, and they walk off, and they bought a card and came back, and it was I think it was a LeBron rookie where he's holding up the jersey and he's wearing the white suit.
Sure.
I looked at it and I was like, man, this card feels off. Like I could feel it's off, but it's weird. You're gonna be like, hey, you just paid $200 for a fake card. So I just was like, hey, there's a company right over there called SGC. Like, why don't you take this over there, have them take a look at it, see what they think on if you should grade it or not. And literally they came back like a few minutes later and they were like, yeah, they said it was fake. So we went back to the table and the guy gave us our money back. So I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
great. Like I didn't have to be the bearer of bad news, but it's like they
Yeah.
learned something in that interaction just because they were open and communicating. And I wasn't scared to kind of be like, hey, here's an avenue you should go down.
Yeah. That happened to me the only time I ever set up at the Dallas show, because I don't really set up ever.
Yeah.
I had a guy bring me a fake 51 Bowman Mays rookie card, and it was
Oh,
like I think a $10,000 to $20,000 sticker, and he had bought it from like a guy like on the same row of tables as me, and I looked at it for 3 seconds. I was like, "Yo, this is so fake."
yeah.
So, and fortunately, I do think they worked it out, and the guy refunded him. But it is a sad component of the hobby how much
Oh, yeah.
counterfeit activity still happens.
Yeah, well, and also not everybody. I think I like to assume most people aren't doing it on purpose. Like when I
Yeah,
first got into collecting, I ended up buying like two Tom Brady rookies, and I sold them to two different people at a show, and they came back to me later and like, hey, I was looking at this, or I was comparing, and they were both fake, and I was like, I had no clue. I'd never seen a Tom Brady rookie in my life, you know,
yeah,
and I didn't, I knew the Jordans, most of them were fake, but Tom Brady, I just didn't know there were a bunch of fakes circulating, and I ended up getting like I said, yeah, of course, I paid them back immediately. And then, but then again, they might view me as like somebody's trying to do that, but I definitely, wasn't. It was just my lack of knowledge. And
yeah.
I literally opened up, I had, that Nike promo Jordan card that's like a little bit bigger. It's one of his like early rookies. And it came with a pack of 10. Like 2 or 3 years ago at the Nashville show, I traded like $1,000 worth of like autographed Floyd Mayweather cards to a guy, and I said he felt sketchy at the time, and I
Mhm.
always try to listen to my gut on those, and I didn't. It was early. I mean, this was 3 years ago, and he traded me a sealed pack of that, and I literally opened it for a video because I was going to send it off and grade it. I opened it. I'm almost positive that whole set's fake, and you can't tell because it was packaged in that stuff.
Yeah.
But then when I took it out and I compared it with one that I had PSA graded, I was like, yeah, this thing's definitely fake. And I'm almost positive it is. But I see him at a lot of shows. I might say something to him, but we'll
Yeah.
see. I'll just say something, be like, hey, that thing I don't know if you remember me, but we'll see what happens. He'll probably, just based on our one interaction, he's going to be like, oh, tough luck and walk away. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
that's tough,
We'll see how
man.
it goes.
I do think to your point earlier, most people are good and it is more
Yeah.
more aligned with just mistakes, but it is frustrating, man. I've been dealing with it lately as well, just dealing with people not acting in good faith with stuff. And it's one of the downsides to the hobby. Like in any business, there's going to be
Any
bad
business.
actors. I wanted to talk to you today just about kind of where you see the hobby at today from your point of view. We're coming into the end of the year, and I'm a very reflective person. I started writing my year in review newsletter today,
Oh, I
and I'm
love it.
looking back on this year. It's been a crazy year, and my overall sense is that we're in a great spot. There's so much to be excited about. I think the thorn in my side, and I started writing this blog post and I just didn't feel like getting angry today, was talking about SGC. I'd love to hear your perspective on like where the hobby is right now. If we have to talk about SGC, I will. I don't even know if I want to, but yeah, I would love to just open it up to you. Where do we stand today? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and that you see this with every market. Like it kind of starts off, and there's like, there's think of it like stores. 70 years ago, you had a grocery store in this town, a grocery store, like everybody had stores, and everybody's doing about not great to middle, and then Walmart came around and it commercialized, and Walmart put mom and pops out. Like I think we're seeing I don't know if it's right to say the industrialization of the hobby, but we're seeing certain companies rise to the top, whether it's because they have the licenses or because their resale value, in the case of PSA, their resale value is higher, or,
Yeah.
different companies, we're seeing them rise to the top because it makes sense monetarily. You know what I mean? Either they have the product or they have the product people want, or they have the label that people want. And you're seeing more and more people gravitate because when we're also seeing more and more new people get into the hobby. And you know this, when you first get into something, you first get into an industry, you are comfortable with the thing that you're more generic. You're more comfortable with the thing most people are comfortable with, right? Like more people buy PSA than any other grading company. More people, buy licensed product than unlicensed product. Like anything in the hobby, everybody that's new is going to gravitate towards what everybody's saying. This is the main one. Oh, cool. I'm going to go there. It feels safe. Even with collecting, like MJ, LeBron, Tom Brady, like go to goats, because that's people know. People like it. More people
Yeah.
want it. And so people are less inclined to put higher amounts of money towards their favorite player from when they were a kid because, they don't, maybe not as people talk about it, or people say it's not worth anything to them. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a growth we've seen with this like migration towards big companies and more familiar names. But I think that as it grows and people feel more comfortable, you'll start seeing these niche areas pop off and then grow again. I think
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen.
I would love to see the other areas of the market mature, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm not even like, I'm very pro free market. Like I almost always have a pretty optimistic view with like M&A activity. Like a great example this week, people are concerned on the Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers. Like
Oh
at the end
yeah.
of the day, Netflix won that battle. Like they built the best product, they have the best company, they went toe to toe with Disney and Warner and all these other people, and they won. And they should be able to do this acquisition from my viewpoint. And if you were to kind of look at the other side of the coin now and look at it, the hobby with people being upset about PSA or collectors acquiring SGC, if you go back and look at all that content that I had, I wasn't mad about that happening at all from a monopoly standpoint. Like it's not a monopoly in my view. The thing that frustrates me right now is that you just aren't getting leadership to speak about what they want the direction of SGC to be as a brand. And in doing so, you are making people lose confidence in the SGC brand. And, you know, REA just had an auction, their their big final catalog auction of the year. And like a dream card for me is that 54 Heron SGC 9 that sold
Mm.
last night. And that is the highest graded example at SGC. That is truly like one of the most elevated cards in the hobby. A PSA 9 example of this card most recently sold for around 360 to 400,000 in that range. I mean, in the 21 run up, it got as high as 600,000 in PSA 9.
Wow.
Tyler, do you want to guess what the SGC 9 sold at yesterday?
220,000.
$169,000.
Dude, we should have gone in together and bought that
I
thing.
I am frustrated about it because there is no logical reason that that card should trade at more than 50% discount to the PSA counterpart. It's a beautiful copy. It's a great looking card. SGC has always been one of, if not the more preferred grading company for vintage cards, especially call it pre 1970.
Mhm.
If you look at the top 10 all-time sales of SGC cards, top 10 all-time sports card sales, there are plenty of SGC slabs there. And, it's like collectors just doesn't want to stop the bleeding in terms of like the shakiness and confidence that people have over the SGC brand. And, I personally love the SGC look. My best cards are in SGC slabs. I'm not changing that as a collector. But I just know that this is such an easy to fix solution to just be able to give the collecting audience a little bit of information. Like it's owed to these people who have been in this industry for 30 years, that have seen this company grow, and just like to let it just sit there and say nothing and then let these big auction houses have these sales. It pisses me off, man. So I'm not a very negative person. That's the one thing that I have right now that's on my mind negatively in the hobby, is like what's happening with the grading companies and PSA's direction. I don't know. If you look at everything outside of that, like the trends in terms of what people like to collect right now, I think it's super cool. Like our conversation earlier too on like how the different generations all collide, and like how you can have really cool debates about like what are the best cards to get, in terms of like you're seeing this rise of 90s collectors, and like this debate over like what is the next Mickey Mantle card? Is it Ken Griffey Jr.? Are people excited about Shohei Ohtani? Like the speculation and the contribution that people can have to this industry as a hobby, as an investment class, it's so exciting. And there's just that one thing that's just pissing me off right now. But outside of that, man, I love where we're headed in so many different directions,
Yeah, and I'm with you. I'm a big SGC fan, and I first place I ever graded with. Love their slabs. Love how
Yeah.
good they are. I think they're better at grading than anybody else. And I also collaborated with them for a while, and like it was when they were acquired, and I think everything that was told to them was like, "Hey, you guys just keep operating, keep running like you're running." I mean, they were
Yeah.
second by far. They were second. People, oh Beckett, doesn't matter. They were SGC was second in sports cars, not in
Yeah.
TCG, but in sports cars they were second. It had 20% of what PSA was, and that was going up every year. And great leadership with Pete, and they were a good team. And then they let them chill and do their thing for like a year, and then Pete leaves. They pull half the staff over to PSA, and they say it's a boutique. And now like you lose confidence in the industry long term, and it stinks because like I love the company, I love the slabs. It's like feels good to me to have I think it looks better in SGC slab than PSA. Like there's so many cards I'm like, guess I'll send this to PSA, but also it's a disgustingly ugly red border at the top that doesn't match my card. It doesn't match anything except for Bulls level Michael Jordans. And I'm like, well, at least I could get those, what are they called? The slab protector around it to kind of
Yeah.
take the color away from the red, which that's one thing. There's no good rubber like case thing for SGC, which is frustrating. I had to buy like 3D printed stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think that they had a very clear option, and that, they could have been like, hey, these sister company, like, brother sister company, whatever, sister companies, they could have just been like, oh, you know what? We've got all this technology. Let's bring it in. And I think that's what SGC was most excited about, was like, we're going to have access to all their data, all their stuff. And it sounds like they just kind of let them run their own thing. And they said, nope, you don't get access to this. Like, how
Yeah.
easy would it be to just be like, hey, we got the collector data, what is it? The set registry with PSA. How I'm not in charge of that, but I don't think it would be too much money or time or effort to open that up for SGC. Literally copy paste, what you were
Yeah.
already doing, but add it to SGC labels. But it's literally like I'm assuming, again, I didn't hear this from anybody. From what it looks like, collectors saw how much money they made per card with PSA, saw how much money they made per card with SGC, and they said, you know what? Let's just nerf this one so that in hopes that those people come over to PSA.
Yeah.
And they're thankful that Beckett's so trash at being is ran so terribly that nobody wants to go to Beckett. I mean, you got people trying to, but Beckett makes it hard to go to them. And
Yeah.
so I don't know.
I don't want to go to Beckett. I don't like the Beckett brand at all. And you're right. From a business standpoint, if you're just trying to grow, profitability, it's more profitable to grade cards in PSA slabs. And unfortunately, it's just not what's best for collectors. And it sucks.
Yeah, it's
And
not great. I do like this. I do like their new buyback thing. I know it's under hot water now because of the whole turning a 9 into 10. But
yeah,
I had an order in there forever, and then it finally hit, and they offered me like to buy on 3 of my cards, and one was a great deal. And I was like, done. Like that was super easy. And I know, I'm sorry, I got the hiccups. And so I know that like it's got a lot of negatives in the industry if you got the same company that is the star player on the team, the referee and the coach and the GM. That's not great for the game.
yeah,
But that little area for me is like a small time, one person, not shop collector. it is kind of nice that I could sell those cards. Like I'm about to send an order to them, and I got to order to SGC, but an order to them, and it's stupid expensive. They upcharge me on random stuff. They think it's the absolute insane how we let them operate. But also, I'm not stupid, and I know if I want to sell these cards, there's 10 buyers to one for any other grading company. You know what I mean? And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I would sell my SGC stuff. It would sell. It just might have to sit there a little longer because 10 to 20 more buyers are looking with the PSA slab versus SGC, and there just weren't as many comps out because they've graded less cards. But that was changing over time. But here we are. And also, I have a lot of Tyson Beck stuff. He does like custom stuff. And PSA is the only place that grades them. So I have to send those to them.
I'm also, and we can move off this topic. I honestly didn't even want, it was on my mind a little bit this morning, and I didn't even want to have to spend that much time talking with you because I love focusing on, more positive things, especially things we can control. But one of the things that, when I'm selling cards live on my show every week, SGC stuff still sells immediately as soon as I get it, and anything priced under, I'll call it $5,000,
Yeah.
immediately. I'm not having any issue there in that price point. I'm
Yeah. Well,
more.
you're vintage too. Vintage, that doesn't, my vintage SUC stuff sold immediately
Yeah,
everywhere.
that
It was
that isn't
great.
like the concern at all in terms of like the collectability of the cards. I think like the investment standpoint bothers me that like
Yeah.
there's such a lack of confidence in the higher end category, and like eventually buyers are going to step in here and make like a killing on those cards. And
Oh,
part of what
yeah.
I do now is brokering like investment grade cards for buyers, and I want what's best for them as well, and I'm seeing this market change and evolve, and I just think that it's stupid to see the discount that they're getting. But yeah, the lower grade vintage stuff or like anything priced, somewhat normally, call it even 10 grand and below, I don't think you're going to see like a change in demand or price there. But let's talk about like some other things that are making us more excited about the hobby.
Yeah.
I feel like, to your point earlier, there's a lot of new people coming in, which is exciting. And I think I also like that you brought up Kyle from King of the Cards, because we're winning in a lot of important areas where like the right people are getting bigger platforms, and you're like I don't know. I've gotten to meet Kyle a few times at shows. I've interviewed him a few times. We text. Every time I message him, he's always so kind. He treats people the right way. Like, I do think every video he posts goes off because like he's doing it the right way, and
Yeah.
I think there's this flywheel. If you look at Card Collector 2 is another great example. Like, you're getting these guys who are making good quality content, helping out their communities, growing the industry, getting more people involved, and like setting a great example for like, I don't know how I think I would want people to be. If you look at other industries, sometimes the content, not to say there's not shady content and stuff happening in our industry that is getting popularized, but I love that we're getting so many new people involved because of social media and like the popular element of content.
Oh yeah, and you just named two people that like they both seem like good dudes. And like
Yeah.
again, nobody's perfect. Everybody's got stuff. I've got stuff, if I'm like, man, I wish I'd done that different, or oh, I didn't know that, I made a mistake. Like
Yeah.
it just like accidentally selling two fake Tom Brady rookies. Like I didn't know. I learned from it, and hopefully I
Yeah.
don't do it again. Like you learn from it. And I think those two guys are great examples of people that, again, not everybody's content is for everybody. We all vibe with different people, but
Yeah.
I think that I'm so happy that both those dudes are doing well in the creator space because like social media is it's where attention is right now. And that the world's attention is on social media. And
Yeah.
so if we want to bring more attention to what we're doing, make all of our collections worth a little bit more and bring in new people into this thing that we like so that we have more people to talk to at dinner parties, like
Yeah.
I say, like, let's hopefully those algorithms keep pushing people like them. And I think
Yeah.
that's fantastic. How have you seen, like, have you seen a change over the past year in your content, what you're creating, and like the audience it's reaching?
Yeah. I mean, it's been such a crazy year for me personally, like develop the growth that I've had. I'm always amazed to see like what sticks with people and sometimes like what really works. Excuse my dog if she's barking, but I think my content has found more people that are interested in this stuff as an asset class. I think
Mhm.
there's real money that's moving into the space that people want to invest into. There's a lot of characteristics of like what the art market has developed into that I think sports cards will mature into. And I've love getting on the phone with these people and hearing their perspective on like where they want to allocate some capital to and like how I can help with that has been a blast. So that is one category of a new viewer that's come in. I spend a lot of time also writing, and not to say that I'm not doing video content. I've loved some of the video content that's come off of this podcast that I can share clips and stuff. I like having longer form conversations like this and allowing people to kind of get a longer access into the way I think about things versus just a quick 60-second clip.
Yeah.
But I've always loved to write, and I'm super bullish on the platform Substack. I think newsletters and the ability to, and I know you've played around in like other similar platforms to Substack before. And
Yeah, I use Squarespace right now for my education newsletter, but I'm about to have to, because I wasn't able to send it out consistently because Squarespace is so dumb. They have limits on how many you can send a month. So I was only able to send one email a month. And I was like, I wanted to send it weekly. So I'm about to, like, I just got the CSV file. I'm going to dump that over into Substack and start sending weekly stuff for educators. And then my paid stuff will be still back over on Squarespace.
Well,
I'll do like a drip campaign over there.
You'll really, really like the platform at Substack. I think it's going to be one of the more popular platforms over the next decade, and I love writing there. I love like getting the feedback as well. I have been able to spend a little. The last few months I've gotten to spend more time at home in doing my business. Like I'm buying and selling a lot of cards, brokering cards from home, and being able to use my writing and my video platform to kind of bring my network together, which has been such a blast. And it is cool, like you said earlier, just like getting more people into the space. Mm-hmm. I'm really into golf, and I just got a new golf instructor I'm doing lessons over the winter with. And,
Nice.
we were talking, and, through the conversation somehow, I was Venmoing him to pay for the lesson. And I was like, yeah, I use Venmo all the time for my business. And he said, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I have a sports card business. I do a lot of content related to baseball cards. And he's like, I just got into the hobby like the last year. Like I've got an eBay store. And we started talking about it. And, you can see how many more people are seeing this and getting excited about it. And that was like a neat conversation to get to have with him. And I love when you find out that people are in the hobby that you didn't know were. Yeah. And I think there's a rising tide of people that are doing that. So, it's been cool. I remember one time too, my UPS driver, I see my UPS driver drop off a package. This was like 6 months ago or so. And he's like, you're the sports card guy. And I was like, what? And he's like, I watch your videos. Like you do like baseball cards. You were at a card show last weekend. I'm like, yeah, man. And we talked for a few minutes. Man, it's pretty crazy. I was like, he goes, yeah, Bonkers cards. I'm like, yeah, did you follow me? He goes, no. And the conversation immediately stopped. I was like, oh, all right. But thanks for watching, I guess. I don't know.
For real.
But at least the algo is going to more people. It was pretty funny seeing him say that. I was like, I guess the next time you see the video pop up, maybe follow me. But
yeah. Do you get a lot of interaction, people that recognize you at stuff from your videos?
yeah, at card shows, I definitely will get stopped a few times, and I always enjoy that.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, obviously, that people are. I think you probably get a lot more than me, but I do like it the occasional time that I get it.
It's cool. I can always tell which channel it's for, depending on if it's like, oh, it's a 12-year-old kid, it's probably cards. If it's a 40-year-old woman, it's probably education, And so It's fun though. One time we went on it was like a Disney cruise, and we get on the elevator, and this kid's just like tugging at his mom, and then she's like, what? And she turns around and she goes, do you do like card stuff on YouTube? I go, yeah. She goes, my son wants to say hi to you. He watches your video. I was like, really? That's cool. And I was like, my family, I just go in my office and record. They don't care about what I do. Like they don't pay attention. And so it's always fun for them because they're like, oh, Dad, people like he's actually making real videos for the earth, And so it's fun. That same cruise though, I saw Matt Leinart. Matt Leinart, USC quarterback. I was walking, he started making like family kind of TikTok videos too. And I was walking down like the cruise ship stairs, and I saw him walking up just like by himself. And I saw him, I was like, oh shoot. I go, hey. And he turned around, I go, love the TikToks, bro. He's like, thanks, man. And I was like,
That's hilarious.
That's my whole interaction with Matt Leinart. But it was fun. We were on the same cruise.
I think you never know who you'll see out there, but it's also funny if you got to get Matt Leinart to be able to collaborate with you and get
oh
him
yeah, I'm sure he's waiting on that call. Yeah, he's like, oh, Tarver cards, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean it's kind of, I think that's one way that we've been able to get more people in, though, is like people that you wouldn't expect to always be in the hobby that might be, and like like
Mhm.
I think Michael Rubin being such a focal point in the industry and having so many like
Oh yeah.
celebrity connections has been really helpful in that way.
Yeah, he's been great. That's one thing that, because nobody's, again, no company's perfect, especially a company that's doing as much as they're doing. It does seem like they want to learn and they understand growing, like how to grow companies. He's very
Yeah.
good at connecting people, and he's very good at like getting buy-in. Like KD is at breaks in Houston. Like James Harden's showing up this stuff. These dudes have never talked about cards. Well, like KD, Chris Paul, they don't even know how much their cards are worth, and they're rolling up like, oh, cool, and like being in the conversation, which is huge, and then also brings more eyes in. And one thing I'm loving too is, I honestly, like Arena Club has been, and I collab with them sometimes. Like they are one of the best like marketing plans for growth, because they are just like, they're finding a ton of like even small creators like me. They're collaborating with me, middle size, like Pac-Man, who's like one of the largest, sports card. But then they're also like Steve Nash, and they just announced Giannis is going to be one of their. They're doing a collab with Giannis. Like they're doing all these things to like reach these different markets, and it's so genius.
Yeah.
Because they're. I mean, that's, if a company wants to grow now, they need to go where people have attention, and people that have attention are the creators. And again, I'm not saying like in the negative influencer, like go buy these cards, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm saying like, hey, here we are in a community showing you what I've learned, either entertainment or education, and that community buying into what that person's talking about.
Yeah, I'm all for that too. I mean, I'd love to continue to see. One of the things that I'm waiting for that like has really surprised me that it's not here yet is brands outside of the hobby recognizing the value and size of this audience. Like,
Yes.
there are so many people that watch this content now that are interested in this category, but the only companies that recognize the value of that attention are still hobby related companies. So you see
Yeah.
Arena Club actually invested, they invested into our network. They've done an ad on my show before. It's like, but when do you see consumer product goods or new energy drinks or new people that are trying to tap into, especially to high male demographic audiences, like
Yeah.
a Harry's razors or a men's product line, whatever that is, like it's such a valuable audience because it's first of all, it's super concentrated, it's very passionate, and the numbers do it justice versus other categories that these brands are probably still investing marketing dollars to, and there's no way they get the same ROI. So I'm like waiting to see that shift, and I'm surprised that it hasn't happened entirely. But yeah, man, I think we're still so early in terms of what like this whole market ecosystem is going to be. It makes me super excited that I happened to find it at the time in which I did.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. There's not, like, even as like a space, it's a very small space. There's not a lot of creators in this space, and there's not a lot of companies that are still in this space. Like there's
Yeah,
what, 5 to 10 card companies, and really one or two that get to make anything with licenses on it. Like you're
yeah,
seeing, there's such opportunity for these companies to come in and be like, oh, what's your demographic? What is it? 12 to 45-year-old males. Oh, guess what? A lot of products being sold to them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. That's
I
what I'm
know,
saying.
like Sports Cars Nonsense just did that collab with Harry's razors, which is great because most of those dudes shave or hopefully shave. You know who I'd love to collab? They need deodorant to collab with a lot of these guys that go to these shows. You know what I'm saying? Like they need deodorant and closed-toed shoes. That's what we need. We need those two to collab and reach out to this audience.
I love it. So I want to ask you too. We're getting around Christmas time, end of the year. Do you have any big cards on your list? Any cards that you're hoping? Like, what's that? If I could get you like that one big holiday gift of your favorite card, like what would be at the
Ooh.
top of your list right
That's
now?
a great promise, and I'm so glad you already bought that SGC 9 Hank Aaron for me. I accept it, I
Yep.
receive it, and I love how you pay your podcast guests. I'm just kidding. Like I've gotten a lot of my Grail cards.
Yeah.
They're and the only ones that I'm waiting on are ones that like haven't popped up. I do have like I'm trying to work on the greatest basketball players of all time, top 100. And so I need some big ones at the top there, like MJ, LeBron, and Pete Maravich. But also, it's like you got to buy for the rest of your family first. And honestly, that market's been like jumping so much. It's like I'm
Yeah.
kind of like not in a hurry there, just because I'm hoping it dips again, and then I can buy it on that dip. But I've just been snagging little cards here and there. I finished that. I worked on the 1996 EX credentials set. There's like 80 of them. I finished that. thanks to Adam Gray. He helped me get that Kobe at the end. But yeah, I'm just, keep my eyes open. I did just buy this at have you ever been you've seen Cranks at shows, right? Cranks out of Chattanooga. They're super cool
Maybe.
dudes. Josh Gucci Rips has done a lot of videos at their place.
Okay.
I just bought this at Cranks. I was speaking at a conference. It's a Steph Curry 101 printing plate with his autograph on it. So
That's
I
really
don't know.
cool.
I've been more and more leaning into autograph cards over a lot of stuff. Like I just really
Mm.
like autos and then even autograph memorabilia. So that's been my big thing. I think it was sparked just because we go to those Grizzlies games. We try to get stuff signed, and I love that. So
Yeah, that's
if I'm
great.
thinking of anything on my list that I want to grab, I would love if I could snag like an MJ or LeBron auto. Get those because I love both those players. And it's crazy I haven't dished out the money for it, but
I mean,
we'll see.
that's yeah. I mean, those are big items, though. MJ
Yeah,
and LeBron autos, and I'm with you. I had a big pivot to trying to find mostly signed cards a little while back too. I've been collecting Hank Aaron's signed player year
I knew
cards, and
that. That's
they're
great.
they're way lower pop than like obviously his traditional cards. So
Yeah.
I think there's something cool too about pieces that have provenance. I'm like getting, you know, my 54 set, I have mostly in high grades behind me. It's like kind of hard to find new stuff that like gets me excited because I'm also seeing stuff all the time. So
Yeah.
like I am making the game a lot harder in terms of like what I want to collect. And I think the things that are sticking out to me more now are signed pieces or pieces that have some sort of significance, like cultural relevance, provenance. That stuff's cool to me. Like I would love to continue to focus on that. The other thing that's been I'm trying to think of the last baseball card. My last item in my PC might be either a Jackie Robinson card. The last like couple months, I got
Which one?
some. Um, I had the rolled gold like the cigarette Jackie Robinson rookie, which I thought
Yeah.
was super cool. I've got his team photo pack up on my wall here. I'm just kind of looking at some of the other items. My biggest PC buy that I made for an investment is a 1947 Bond bred Jackie Robinson in an
Oh, I
S.
saw the video on that.
Yeah, that's like a very important card to me. That's just very, very clear cut, true rookie card. First time he's on cardboard. And it's a very low pop card. The seven that I have is one of the highest ever graded. And I don't even keep it like anywhere in my peer view. It's like I don't ever want to be tempted to sell it. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a huge card one day.
Yeah.
So, I'm just the thing I was gonna say though, I've been getting more into like golf collecting. I collect a lot of golf polos. Anytime I go to a new course, trying to
Oh, cool.
connect like almost like experiences to collecting. Every time I go to a course, I get the logo ball as well, and I'm gonna have a big golf course display of all the places I've played.
That's a
But
great idea. I
I
love stuff like that, by the way. I always try to, whenever I go out of town for a conference, I always
yeah,
try to pick up a card or something that I can keep to remind me of that experience.
experience. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that makes collectibles so honestly valuable and important is that it has an ability to transfer you to a different time. And when people can start to relate their collectible to an experience that they hold positively, I think that's like a very addictive feeling. Like I love looking at some of these balls and thinking about those rounds of golf I played either with those friends that I was with or just it was a beautiful day or I made a
Yeah.
really nice shot or any of that stuff. Like it all kind of comes back and I'm just having a lot of fun with golf lately, and it's cool to see the parallels of golf to card collecting and in other areas.
One thing that I've started doing too whenever we go on trips, and I haven't done it every time, but I try to do it when we can. And when we go somewhere, like, there's gift shops of different places. Like we went somewhere in DC and we are like the Abraham Lincoln Museum, and they have commemorative baseballs that go with like a lot of those like experiences on those trips. So what I've started doing when I don't forget, I'll do it that, or I'll go to a used bookstore and buy like a Harry Potter book because I love Harry Potter, and
Mm,
I'll go and I'll like actually like autograph it, put the date, and then have everybody that's with me autograph it. So I was just thinking if I was doing like the golf thing you're doing, every time you go with your buddies, when you get that ball, I'd be like, hey, let's all sign this, and
yeah,
then like commit if you're not planning on reselling them, I guess, but that's one thing that I've started doing whenever I think of it or when we have time for me to pick something up. I do that and then try to get everybody in my family to sign it. So,
I
and like I
like that a
signed my
lot.
son's third grade football cleats. I had him sign them, and on the bottom I wrote like his stats from the season.
I like
So
that a lot. I,
it's fun.
you know, I could even see myself doing that with the scorecards, just having them write their
Oh,
names
that's a good
into
idea.
it, because it's hard to sign a golf ball. But
Yep.
the thing is, to your point, also, is that like when I'm buying that stuff, there's no financial attachment to it at all.
No.
Like I never am going to sell that stuff. And that's one of the things that I think is a little different for me with sports cards is I do collect it, but one of the things I loved about this as a hobby was that I was putting money into it, but I never really had the money be sunk because I always knew that I could get the capital back out of it.
Yeah.
And it's really like if you do the hobby right, it is one of the most financially rewarding hobbies out there. Like if you go golf and you pay $100 for greens fees and then $20 for food or whatever, like that money is gone forever. You can't get it back. But when I
Yep.
spend, $5,000 on a Jackie Robinson card or whatever, I spent that cash, but the equity is just sitting in this card and I have the enjoyment of owning it. But as soon as I would want that money or need it, I can exit, get the liquidity back, and most likely the card has appreciated since that time and I've made money. So I've had that experience of having an activity or hobby, but there's been no economic loss versus what you have with a lot of other hobbies. So that's one of the
Yeah.
things that I love about it.
Yeah, and that's one thing too, because it isn't my main job. It's literally just to fund me buying more little
Yeah.
rectangles. And so, like, it's funny because every now and then my wife will be like, "Are you gonna buy another card?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy this card." And how much it costs? And I'm like, "Hey, but guess what? I'm going to sell more cards to pay this off, or I'm going to do
Yeah.
it. Like, you're not, because she likes jewelry. I was like, you're not selling your jewelry to buy more jewelry. Like, you're just buying it and getting it. Like, I'm selling them to buy them. And so it's
Yeah.
like, it's fun because honestly, I feel a lot less guilty because, like, I just bought my last big pickup was it's a Jordan Poole True Gold out of 10.
Mhm.
Not super vintage, 2019. I don't know what year you start your vintage, but like, I just picked this up. It was like $4,000. And I did that because he's my favorite player, and it's a card that I pulled one of the 10 out of a thing and had to give it away for a giveaway for a company. And so I pulled it, had to give it away. And so I've like been trying to track that one of those down for 4 years now. And so like I just picked that up. It was like
Dude, that's
4,000.
huge.
Yeah.
Congrats.
But also like I know I paid way too much for it, but also now I own it. Like I'm so excited to have it, and I know that like I just broke even, so I've worked my way to paying it back. So it's like I have zero in it because I sold other cards to get it. So
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
a
That's
cool
just
hobby
my
in that
thing, and
way.
it takes that guilt away because it's like this is for fun for me. Yeah, I have to sell some. Yeah, I do collabs, but it helps me fund this thing, so I don't feel bad for taking money away from my family.
Totally, man. I relate to that wholeheartedly. I think I've always been like super like financially conscious. I love learning about I've always been a personal finance nerd. Like when I first started making content, it was about personal finance, investing, like all that type of stuff. So there's that element to it that gives me guilt-free a sense that I can enjoy it and I know that it's financially responsible. And
Hmm.
yeah, I love it for that reason. So yeah, man, I just honestly, I just want to say thank you for coming on the pod. And I love just getting to kind of chop it up with you, talk. I've enjoyed this process a lot of having like an interview style podcast where I can come on and get to hear people's perspectives on the hobby. And I think we're going to have a great year next year. I think we're going to continue to see more people come in. I think we'll have, more collabs to do. I'm sure there'll be more videos that I see that you post and lessons that we learn and stuff. Is there anything that really makes you excited for next year that you have on the calendar or any other like kind of closing thoughts for next year?
Man, it's been it was a great year. Fanatics Fest, we went to that with my boys and they absolutely loved it. Fanatics
I
Fest
saw you
was
there,
so
yeah.
dope. Saw you there. Yeah, we got to kick it for a minute waiting. Was that LeBron
We
we
were
were
waiting
waiting
for
on?
LeBron and he just like
Yeah.
never came out.
No, and then when he did, we were so far back, and everybody's just like greased up in there. I'm like, I think I'm just gonna walk around. You know,
Yeah.
I ended up I picked up bigger cards there than I think I've ever purchased at a show, and it was like, and again, I know it was only like 20% card show, but it was still a great show, and I just enjoyed it thoroughly because I like all that side of it, the dynamic of players and people and interactions and companies. Like it's just so fun to me, and so I haven't been able to go to many shows lately because again, I wasn't supposed to coach my kids' football team, but some stuff happened and I stepped in like the third game. And so like every Saturday I'm there coaching, 2 nights a week I'm coaching. And then my other kids have stuff almost every other night. And then I'm coaching basketball. So like I won't be free again till like February or March before I can start like going to shows again, like legit. And I would love to set up again, but I don't know. I'm really excited about where this hobby's going with regards to how it's viewed by the world. And because once that happens, obviously it's cool because our card values go up, but it's also cool because you have something that you enjoy talking about and you're passionate about that you can have that convos with other people. Like I
Yeah.
can talk to people and like I was literally my oldest son was getting a haircut today And I'm in there, and they know I do card stuff. And they started talking about their Harley Davidson cards. One of them showed me his father-in-law's card. They just showed me the upper 89 Upper Deck King Griffey Jr. And I was talking about, hey, check on this on centering. Like, it's cool because they're like asking and they want to know. And then others like, I got these 89 baseball cards. I was like, well, that's awesome, but they're probably not worth anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's the worst part, is telling people their stuff's not worth anything. I was
Oh,
like,
it's the worst.
look for
I do
shiny
it
stuff.
all
Look
the
for that
time.
89 Upper Deck Griffey. That's about it. And so I don't know. It's fun to me and I love it. And it's just cool getting to have those conversations with people as they learn that I'm into it because, social media, and then just bouncing around town and talking about these little quadrilaterals we love so much.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, I'm excited for a lot of the same reasons. I think it's going to be another great year, and there'll be more news. There'll be more content to be made. I know. I just love being a part of having one little small corner of like this whole crazy market of it all. So I'm looking forward to it. Whenever I see you at the next show, I know that Fanatics Fest show. Are you going to go next year?
I'm going to try to. I told the family about it like yesterday, and it was during the World Cup. And then my wife, who's not excited, does not go to card shows, she was like, oh, can we go to the World Cup? I was like, I don't know. Sounds expensive. We could try. But they love New York. Like, they went last time, and her and my daughter just like walked around to all the like shopping places. But I'm going to try to go this year. And then I had to, I had to back out of the National because of work. I had to
Yeah.
present at a conference. My boss was like, we really want you there. I was like, fine. And so I had to like bounce out of that, but I'm going this year. I don't care. I'm like, sorry, bro. I'm bouncing. I'm going that National, boy.
Yeah.
I was talking to our friend Jeff, like texting him the other day. So seeing if we can get something and go
Jeff
buy
Hopkins.
some dope cards.
I think Jeff was the first guest I had on the Gordy Bonker show.
I love Jeff so much. He is such a good dude. I've known him for a few years. He's just such a good dude. I love him so
Yeah.
much.
Let's give a shout out to Jeff. He's the man. I loved when me and Jeff stayed at that Airbnb in Cleveland.
Heck yeah, dude.
I thought that was a blast. And
That
he's
was
a
great.
really
We should have, when that many white guys get together, they almost start a podcast, but we just started them all separately.
Exactly. I love it. Well,
So it
dude,
was fun.
I look forward to seeing you at the next show. And Tyler, also, where can people follow you? I want to make sure you can get a good plug for all your different
Oh,
platforms and
thanks,
stuff.
bro. Yeah, I'm Tarver Cards. Tarver, V as in vampire, you Twilight fans. Tarver Cards on all the social medias. If you want me to interact with you, do it anywhere but Facebook. I try not to interact on Facebook because they're the devil's whisper. Everybody's so mean on Facebook. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's nice everywhere else, but on Facebook, I'm like, these people are really got something in their life that's just like a dark cloud. And so it's just fun.
Yeah.
I love social media. It's a fun place to interact.
I noticed that too. You get different audiences across different platforms. And one thing I got to get better with you and that handle, I always want to pluralize it. Tarver's cards. It's Tarver cards.
Yeah.
Just like, because I'm Bonkers cards. I've got the
Oh,
S.
yeah.
And I
See-
sometimes will get, my name is Gordy Bonkers, which it's
Yeah.
not. My name's Gordy Bonker. It's Gordy Bonkers cards.
So
So
why'd
I
you put
get,
the plural in there?
was that?
Why'd you put the plural in there? You're owning the cards?
I guess so. Like, it's bonkers card. I like the kind of the play on words that it's like these cards are bonkers. Like, this is a
makes
62
sense.
mantle and a PSA 8. Like, that's bonkers. I like that piece.
That's pretty
to it.
good. That's pretty good. I like that.
But I need to do a better job of that. It's Tarver cards, and I apologize if you've heard me say Tarvers. It's like just the passive, thing in the back of my head.
Dude, it's like most time, like literally, I keynoted at a conference last week, and on my name badge said Tyler Traver. Like, I'm like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, how many names do people remember anyways? Like, I'm happy it started with a T. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I'm down for that.
And you've got the alliteration. I'm a big alliteration guy.
Yeah.
Like my first business, the Bonker Beat. I just
That's
like
good.
the double B. Like I just think that sounds better. So I
Well,
like
all the best superheroes have alliteration names. So I'm just
Yeah.
pointing that out, Peter Parker.
it makes people remember your name. So anyway,
Yep.
yeah, check it out. Tarver cards on all handles. Tyler, thank you so much, man. Hope you and your family have a great, happy holiday season. And is it the football season officially over?
It's over. We started basketball. He scored his first
Okay.
2 points ever last
There
Saturday.
we go.
Rocking.
Well, good luck in the basketball season, man. I look forward to seeing you soon. Appreciate everything you do and keep being you, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm rubbing your glue. Thank you too.
All right. Later, man.
Later.